Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving an in-depth tutorial on Chatdash, one of the leading white label platforms for AI agents, and a lot of their really unique features that I haven't seen in any other software, such as custom Stripe billing, topic templates, which I'll go over with you, as well as full chatbot breakdowns and analysis. But before I get into that, I just quickly want to go on for about 30 seconds about what white labeling really is and why it's so valuable. So, white labeling is simply just taking whatever chatbot or AI agent you have created, maybe on Retell AI, Vappy, or on VoiceFlow, and branding it with your own company's branding to show the analytics, conversations, and all the other data that your client might find useful. Now, the value in this is that you're able to come across much more reputable. Your brand seems a lot more believable, especially if it's just you creating them, and especially if it's your first chatbot that you're selling. And ultimately, this leads to a lot more trust from the client and you, which allows you to deliver better results to them, as well as you're able to charge more to them because you don't come across like a freelancer and you come across more like a real business that is professional, which you are if you're watching my videos. So let's get into it. And so my goal for this video and how I'm formatting it is to go alongside with you through all of these features and a lot of the new or unique ones that I personally haven't even used out in the wild yet. And you'll be able to hear my thoughts in more of a raw, uncut fashion and see how someone like myself who actually builds these for companies and helps others build them for companies views all of these features, their potential benefits, and use cases where I think one feature might be more useful than the other, and how a platform like this might compare to another white label platform like Tixa Agents, where I actually previously worked. So I've been in this space for a bit now. I've seen both behind the scenes from someone working at them as well as now building these as an AI agency, and I feel like I have a lot of insights I can give you guys. So looking here at sort of just when you sign up for an account, now I have made a client, but most of the other stuff is empty in here. You'll see a couple of these tabs, and you'll see, well, up here, you'll see however many agencies you have. And then you'll have clients, which is what we're on right now, chatbots, topic templates, which I mentioned in the intro, settings, and then Stripe billing, which is seriously the coolest feature. And we'll go over that at the very end because it's amazing. And so, first off, we'll start by clients. And from what you might expect, there's sort of a hierarchy to things. You have clients at the top, and then chatbots, and then projects. I'll go into the difference between chatbots and projects once we get to the chatbots. But first, we're starting up at clients. And a client would be you're an agency and you sign an e-commerce company and then you build a chatbot for them. That e-commerce company would be your client. And so to create a client, you just come here, you click new client, and then an organization would be, okay, so I messed up the hierarchy. It's organization, client, and then chatbots and projects. And so an organization would be if there's perhaps multiple departments. For example, you might sign the e-commerce company, but then they have a sales and a customer support department. And then you could create different clients for both of those departments, but under the same organization. And so if you were to create an organization, you just make the name and the language, pretty simple. But most of you will not get into anything that complex unless you're working with much larger businesses. And so basically how a client works is you just make their name. So I'll actually make one right now, such as demo client. Their login ID, which is sort of their like their username, I would think of it as. So like the client's name is what you'll see on the screen over here. Then their login ID is what the client would log in as. So example, I'm just gonna go client 1234. Their email is optional. However, if you want to enable two-factor authentication, you do need their email, and then it'll just send them a one-time code every time they want to log in. And so just for security reasons, I would recommend doing that. Since this is just a demo, I'm not going to. Then their password, you just enter here. And you'll see there it has to meet all the typical password requirements, such as capital letter, a number, and a non-number letter character. And then just type in the password again, and then their language, and then you can create that client. Oh, messed up the... There we go. That one has not been used before. If you're working with actual companies, it's pretty rare that the company's name will be taken. And so you now have this demo client. And now let's get into connecting chatbots and how that looks on the client side. And so here we are in the chatbots tab. And once you're in here, you just want to go over to add chatbot. Get myself out of the way there. And you'll see Chatdash actually supports a bunch of different AI agent creators, including all the ones you see on screen, as well as if you have anything custom coded, you can use this custom tab. And for this tutorial, I'm going to be using Retell AI. And one thing to note is that they actually started with VoiceFlow and OpenAI. So if you're building chatbots, like text-based AI agents, VoiceFlow and OpenAI have a lot more like unique features, and little features. They'll have more of them in Chatdash because those have just been legacy on here. And it's also good to note that like on website chatbots will have different customization that you can do, such as how the widget looks, and everything like that, and where you can deploy it, such as if you have like a VoiceFlow bot, I believe you can deploy it on WhatsApp and Instagram and maybe Facebook Messenger, at least all the meta platforms. You can deploy VoiceFlow bots or OpenAI in there. And then obviously voice agents, since they're a different medium, they're through phone numbers, they're over voice, as you know, we'll have different customization options. But for sake of this tutorial, and because my history is with voice agents, I'm going to be using Retell AI. And so how you would add one of these AI agents is you just have to fill out all of these fields. And so this external widget, I wouldn't worry about this really at all. If you run into problems, so basically if you click this, it wouldn't use Chatdash's interface, it would use Retell AI's interface, and then import all that data over into Chatdash for your client to see. And while that sounds like it's pretty much the same thing, there's additional hiccups and other errors you can run into when using either option. So that's just so on a case-by-case basis that I can't give like a broad overview of whether you should check that box or not. However, if you start running the errors with your analysis or certain calls or conversations not coming through, I would contact the Chatdash support and their Discord, which is very responsive, and their founders in there, Habeen. And then I actually created, there's a little Ask AI section, I'll show you right now, in their Discord. I was the one who created the chatbot for that. And so that's trained on all their docs. And so if you go to this Ask AI section, you can type a message in here, and you can, based on whatever your situation is, it'll help you out. And again, I did actually make that. So a little shameless plug right there. But yeah, so that's it for the external widget. But this chatbot name is basically what your client will see. So I'm just going to say personal trainer. And if you saw my Retell AI function calling video, I'm using that same exact AI agent I made there to white label in here. And then it'll ask for your API key and your agent ID. And this is pretty standard across whether you're importing a voice agent, and it really doesn't matter what software you're using. There will always be an API key and agent ID, and I'll show you how to get those within Retell right now. So if you want your API keys, you'll go to this field named API keys, and then you'll just copy this and paste it in here. And then your agent ID you will find if you go up here to agents, go to whatever agent you want, and then just copy that right there. And then if you have a knowledge base, how you would integrate this is you go over here, go to knowledge base, or I don't even have a knowledge base. Okay, so I do have knowledge bases in here. So you would go to your knowledge base, you just copy this knowledge base ID, and so this isn't the right knowledge base for the agent, but it doesn't really matter. And then you name that knowledge base, so personal trainer KB, and then you can have multiple if you need to, but I don't, so I'm just going to create that, and then you don't want to save that, and then boom, you have a chatbot. And now you have a couple of options within here. You can edit it, so you can always go back to those fields you just had. You can edit its default settings, which is where this would be if you were to deploy it on a website. And then obviously if you had like a text-based chatbot made on VoiceFlow or OpenAI, there's different like customizability, and this is a lot bigger of a field that you would use because it's what would actually show up on websites, whereas since my chatbot is just on a phone number, I really don't have to worry about anything about what it looks like. But you can change the prompt in here, you can change the theme and the color and everything, any different settings, and you can go through these on your own. They're all pretty self-explanatory. If I see anything that I want to note, I'll go over it in more depth. Then they have this AI analysis. So as you know, if you create an agent in something like Retell, you have these post-call analysis fields that it generates for you. And you can sort of control all of those. However, those might not always be, or at least the custom ones, might not always port into a custom white label dashboard like Chatdash. So that's why you would enable things like summary, evaluation, and you can prompt how you want it to be written. For example, if you just want a quick bullet pointed summary, write a custom bullet point summary of the main topics covered in the call. And now I don't need any evaluation. You can save that. And then now every time someone calls that agent, that summary, the custom bullet point summary, will then be ported over into the conversations tab for the client. And you can actually add custom ones and their descriptions. And these descriptions are simply if you were to prompt anything else like ChatGPT or to compare it to Retell, they're sort of the same as this description here. And so going back over into parsing, and I'll go over credits more towards the end. But yeah, I'll just cover those at the end because I don't want to confuse you guys right now. And parsing basically is if you were to upload, or a client to upload, a knowledge base document, such as you know, you just had new gym rules installed, or let's say gym hours and regulations. So say the hours are now 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And all these regulations about can't have anyone under 16, stuff like that. Um, the client or you yourself as an AI agency will upload that. And basically, what this parsing does is it takes that knowledge base document, and instead of if you were to normally upload something like that, it throwing away all the extra context, like if there were images in that document or if there were headings and bullet points, what parsing does is it sort of breaks down that knowledge base so that it identifies unique stuff like the images and bullet points and headings so that it can better identify and read that knowledge base and end up actually using it. And you can write parsing instructions, and this is a pretty in-depth feature and also in beta. So if you guys want me to make a full video on parsing, I can. However, basically just know if you were to turn on parsing, it just makes the knowledge base a lot more accurate. And then you can change these settings to fast, accurate, and premium, and those just consume a different amount of credits every time a knowledge base document is uploaded, and parse it to a different degree. And so you can see 2 credits all the way up to 10 credits for the premium parsing, and that's per parse. So I recommend having at least fast on. 2 credits isn't a lot. I believe it costs like $3 for 1,000 credits. So when you see these credits, don't worry about their cost. It's pretty negligible even if you're just starting out and not making money. And so yeah, these are the project settings. And again, if you were to have like a text-based chatbot, these would be a lot more in depth, and you would control a lot more over how it actually looks. And so going back to chatbots, you can delete the chatbot. However, my final thing for chatbots is if you want to add a chatbot to a client, you just go up here, you go to the client details, and you go to edit client information. Oh, not that. And you go to project assign. Then you just click on whatever chatbot you want, and you can change the project name, and you will assign it. And basically, the difference between a chatbot and a project is that a chatbot is whatever you upload in here. However, a project or a chatbot becomes a project once it's assigned to a client. And the reason there are 2 different things is because you can assign multiple chatbots to multiple clients. For example, if I wanted to have this exact same chatbot also assigned to this other client, I can do that. I can assign it, and whenever a call comes through for this client, it won't show up in the transcripts or conversations for the other client because they're 2 different projects, and it sorts that out. But you don't have to duplicate these chatbots and have a bunch of the same chatbots just to upload them to different clients. For example, this would be really useful if you're making sort of a productized chatbot or AI agent, and you really just have the same thing, you're selling it over and over and assigning it to different clients. This would be very useful there because you don't have to clog everything up with a bunch of the pretty much the exact same thing in your chatbots tab. And if you were to ever edit a chatbot, it would edit it for every project and every client. And now that we've actually imported that project to a client, or assigned it rather, you can go in here and you can check out project settings, which are pretty much the exact same for chatbot settings. One thing I do want to know, if you change something like the prompt in here and say this is Kelly from Iron Core, that will actually change it in other projects. So that sort of affects the chatbot globally. And then, however, these are generally the same. And then one thing I actually don't know, if I change something like the color here to green. I don't like that color. To like red. Save that. And then go to this project. This one's still blue. So stuff like the prompt, it seems like if you change the prompt, it will change it in the other project. However, if you change stuff like the theme or anything, I believe that is hosted within Chatdash, so stuff like this, and again, these widgets aren't super useful for an AI voice agent, but you can imagine how uploading different logos would be very important if you're making multiple of the same website widgets, and sort of productizing that. And then, so all this is pretty much the same except for Stripe billing, and I'll go over that in the end. And so if we come back here and we look at client access, within this menu, you're able to completely control what the client can access. So stuff like analytics, what they're able to see. Stuff like conversations, whether they're able to delete conversation, export conversations, and stuff like knowledge base, they're able to interact and edit that. So if you don't want them to interact with the knowledge base at all, you can just turn that off and save that. And one thing I do want to note is that this is very useful because what I found with a bunch of different clients is that a lot of them will have a different philosophy on how hands-on or hands-off they want to be with the actual creation and maintenance of these AI agents. For example, I've had clients who literally just want to give me a set of directions. They never want to see the prompting. They don't want to see any code. They don't care how it works. As long as it works, that's what they want. And for people like that, you really only need the analytics and conversations tab. However, I've also had clients who want to be super in-depth and literally change the prompt if they wanted to and edit it on the fly and teach some of their employees how to edit it. For example, I worked with a company who had a receptionist, and I created an AI receptionist to replace that person, but instead of that person getting fired, they just took on another job. However, they still monitored all the conversations, as well as I taught them how to actually edit the prompt and some prompt engineering skills so that that person was able to, if they noticed an error, able to go in and edit it right away instead of them having to email or contact me. So that's where this client access is very useful. And then this project report, delete projects obviously deletes it. And then project reports, a really neat feature because this basically allows you to generate an entire report for the project or the chatbot and the specific conversations it's had with that client and their in their business. And you can generate it over however long you want. Let's say you just want this past week. You can generate a report which will show all the interactions and token usage, as well as if you want to have frequently asked questions, then you can put those there too. For example, if someone's always calling this personal trainer asking when the gym's hours are, then you'll see that under the frequently asked questions, and maybe based on that data, you or the business owner can be like, hey, maybe we have to have more signs up that show our hours. Maybe we should send an email blast or post on our Instagram showing our hours, because obviously that's something people are super curious about. So if you were to generate something like this, creates a PDF report, and obviously this project doesn't have any data to use. However, you can see it would show however incoming calls or messages there are, all the token usage, and you can actually change this wording. I'll show you how to do that later. As well as a graph, and then under here, if there were any frequently asked questions, you would see the most common questions as well as how the AI actually responded to those. So you would also be able to see if those questions were not being answered correctly by the agent, and then you could be like, man, this last week we were really whiffing on what our hours were, we have to update the agent. And then you could always export this as a PDF. If you wanted to send this to maybe your team at your AI agency. If you want to send it into my community, and we could give a report or help you out on how to best fix all of that. And shameless plug, my community will be linked down below. However, if you want to check out my community, there's a bunch of us in here who like to help each other. I respond to literally every post. So if you're looking for feedback, you would just post in here. And you can see I have conversations with anyone and help them out. And that way, if you're not sure what to do, or you're curious on how to best improve your AI agent, you can get more input there. However, these PDFs you can also send to the client. Even though they'll have the dashboard, they might not check that every day. So it's good to email them, and those repetitive emails as an agency really justify what they're paying you for. And it sounds little because it really doesn't take much effort on the agency side or your side to generate something like this. You literally click like 2 buttons and send an email. But for someone who's paying you perhaps monthly or paid you a big upfront fee for this service, they really want to see how it's doing, see reports, and see that you're really putting in the work and the effort to deliver them a world-class service. And so that's the reporting feature, which is super, super cool and really helpful. And now let's get into topic templates. So what topic templates allow you to do is allow you to organize conversations that an AI agent has into different categories or topics. And so if you go over into this field, you can see they just have a sample template, and you can create any template with whatever fields you want. But stuff like account issues, billing inquiries, complaints is a big one. And you can always create a new template. It's not typing. Oh wait, it's messed up with Loom. Anyways, if I wasn't filming right now, I'd be able to do it. It's just messing it up because there's multiple things in my browser. But you can see all of these, and how you actually implement those is you would go to the client, you go to the project settings, and then you go to AI analysis, and you go to either you can add an individual topic if you don't have a template that you want to use, or you can use a template, and we have this sample template that you just saw. Apply that, and all of these are in here. You can even add subtopics if you want to further go into account issues. For example, this is actually a real world use case that I actually had to work around using make.com, which was sort of a nightmare. Would have loved to have this feature back when I built this. But I built an AI voice agent for an e-commerce company, and they sold their product on multiple different avenues. So for example, they had an Amazon web store as well as like a Shopify like online web store. And the way you would return their product if there was a defect or a problem was different depending on whether it was through Amazon or Shopify. And so we actually had to route depending on the refund request. We would send them a different refund link based on whether it was through Shopify or if it was through Amazon. And so that's where the subtopics can come in, because it could be refunds, but what type of refund is it? Yeah, these are super useful because it allows you to sort what the call was about, and at a glance, I'll show you what the white label dashboard actually looks like in a second. But at a glance, you can sort of, hey, here are all the calls today. Is there any stuff I have to respond to immediately? Which is really important, because if you have complaints or refunds, you want to respond to those and fix those as quickly as possible. And maybe they require human intervention, whereas if there was just a general inquiry or them asking what hours you're open, you might not have to respond to that at all and might not even look at that conversation. So that's how topic templates work. And now I will show you what the white label dashboard actually looks like. And so if you wanted to see what a dashboard looked like for any client, you can just come over here to the client. You can just click preview. And within this, you're able to look at everything about that AI voice agent. And the neat thing here is in that cut, I didn't make or I didn't call this thing 22 times for 11 minutes. It imports all the data. If previously you had been running this and you decide to switch to Chatdash and a white label platform, you don't lose all that data that you might have had within a Google Sheet or something else. That is all stored here. And you can actually edit this. So if you wanted to edit the layout and say you wanted these things all over here, and you wanted to move that up, save that. If you wanted to edit this for whatever reason, like didn't like different stuff, you can just drag and drop all those things, prioritize. Perhaps the person really cares about average cost, so you can move that up there. And then getting into the conversations, this is really the neat part, and where if you have a client that constantly has to monitor where all the calls are and what they're about, this is where they'd spend most of their time, really. And so say you had a call. I want to try and find a call where I actually talked. Here we go. And you might recognize some of these conversations from my previous Retell AI function calling video, where this was my demo call. And the cool thing is you can sort by a bunch of different stuff. And so, for example, if you want to go here and look at any you've saved or marked to review, you can do that, because you can mark to review or save different conversations. And then you can also filter by different terms. So what if I wanted to search toned or personal? And I can filter that and look for anything that had personal. So personalized, stuff like that. You can sort through all of that. And then you can also, if you're handy and you know how to edit, you can also add custom menus or iframes. So this could be like, you could have like a issues tab. You can actually embed like a calendar here. And then do they have a calendar icon? I'm not sure. Let's put actually that's a calendar. And then if you had any iframe, you could add that. I don't, but you could embed a calendar there, or just get as creative as you want. And then you can also come over here to the conversation summaries. And again, this was turned on because I turned it on for this chatbot. However, if I called again, it would be that bullet point. Remember when I outlined that previously? You could see that there. And then I'm not sure where the topic template went. Okay, so where I messed up was I didn't have all these enabled. So if I just enable everything here, save that, then you'll be able to see in this dashboard all of these. So you can have all the conversations, and this will be, if I were to make a new call, it would label it with whatever the topic is. See the knowledge base, and search through that. You can see in the topics, you are actually able to enable this notification, which will both pop up here, as well as it'll send an email to whatever the client organization ID is, or email rather, They'll send it to the client email so that you're notified whenever whether it's account issues you want to be notified about. You can just click that, or what have you. And then you can also enable all these project settings, which we just looked at. And so finally, it's time to get into the Stripe billing. And now to access the Stripe billing, you'll just come over to this Stripe billing tab, as one would expect. And you have to connect Stripe. So you hit connect. You just connect your Stripe account however you would normally. And so I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, now that I've actually connected my account, sorry I didn't show that. I just didn't want to share personal details, stuff like my address and bank numbers. I hope you can be understanding of that. But you can always update your Stripe account if anything changes. For example, you move or you get a different business bank account. And what you want to do is you want to go here and you want to click Create Product. And say this product will be for demo gym. Personal trainer. So that keeps with the sort of theme I've been keeping with this video. You can give a product description. These are just for whenever the client is billed, they'll see this. And your pricing model, so this is where it actually gets really unique. So a base subscription fee would be X amount monthly. For example, you could do $300 monthly. And then you can also actually set a usage limit. So say you only want to accept 500 calls a month. And then if they go over that, it's an extra 10 cents, or I think that would be $10. Extra 10 cents per call. But you could also do minutes. For example, calls would make a lot more sense per minute. That's a bit much for per minute, but you could do something like that. And then for the pricing model, you can also change this to make it purely usage based, where it's only X amount per minute. It makes it super easy to track all of that, where it'll actually do it automatically over whatever billing period you want. Monthly is the shortest you can actually do, or weekly is the shortest you can do. Monthly is probably the most common. Yearly would be like, if you had like a ginormous client and you knew they were going to stay on yearly, would really never recommend that. However, yeah, this is the Stripe billing. And for example, if I was to go back, or if I was to create this product, I'll just name it demo, and then I'll do 300, I'll do 500 minutes, and then an extra 0.05 per minute, and I create that. Then I have this product, and then I go over to clients, I go over here, project settings, Stripe billing, and then I can choose this, assign that. And now that I've actually assigned them this billing, if they were to sign into their account, they have to put in their payment information, or else they can't do anything else inside of their client dashboard before they pay. And so this makes it super, super easy to charge people. It's all organized in one place. They pay through there, and you get paid directly, and it seems all super professional. So lastly, let's go over the settings that Chatdash has. Now last but definitely not least, we have sort of the nuts and bolts of operating within Chatdash. There's settings and these 5 main tabs: agency, white label, members, translation, and my profile. So agencies, all the white label stuff. You can access your API keys here. You can buy more credits, which, like I mentioned before, $3 for 1,000 credits, as well as you can check out the credit usage and all of that right here, which again is very low. It's all conversation based, so you'd have to have hundreds of conversations, and really the only amount of credits you'd have to spend is a couple bucks here and there. you'll see all your subscription stuff. You'll be able to manage your description or subscription. You can see the white label stuff, which is sort of off of the agency stuff. You can see the favicon, which would be like that little logo up there. Whatever your website's title is, which would be that right there on the tab. All the themes, as well as your own custom domain. Members, this would be if you have multiple team members. Translation, this is super cool, especially if you're outside of the United States, is you can change your agency dashboard language to any custom language. So if I were to pick Korean, everything would then be in Korean. However, I don't want that because I don't speak Korean. And then your target language. So this is for the agency dashboard. This is your target language, so this would change all of that. So now back to English. You can also just change these. So if you want cancel to be cancel now, you can save that. So that's what I was talking about earlier when I mentioned you can change any of the wording on your white label dashboard, and you can search for wherever it is and change it. So for example, I think some places it said chatbots. For example, you want to change the support stuff. But if you're not using chatbots, you might not want to say start new chat or end chat. You might want it to be start call and end call. You can find everything like that and change those within there. And then finally, my profile is just what shows up internally for your team, as well as your password, the email, and everything like that. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching that full tutorial. If you'd like to learn more, have any questions about Chatdash, make sure to join their Discord. You can look it up. It's on their website. If you want to join my school community, you can join that. It's linked down below if you want to ask me questions directly, as well as if you're looking to start an AI agency, I have a full tutorial down below on picking your niche, picking your service, everything like that, as well as if you're looking to learn how to build the AI agent like you saw in the one in this video. I made an entire function calling video, as well as a video showing how to connect Retell AI to Chatdash, and that video focuses a lot more on Retell rather than this video, which focused almost exclusively on Chatdash. And if you'd like to sign up for Chatdash, I do have an affiliate link down below if you'd like to support me. Their pricing is very reasonable, especially considering the pricing of competitors in the space. And I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.